Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome all of you to the show. This show is called The Book of John. It is about a bloke called John that I met. He's a driver, right, this guy. He's like a professional driver. I was going to say chauffeur, but that makes him sound posh, doesn't it? And John is definitely not posh, right? There's one thing he's not, he's posh. And the reason I hired him, I hired a driver in the first place, is because my life had gone a bit weird. And it, not all bad, by the way. Some lovely things have happened to me in the last few years. I got married to a lovely woman called Sian. That was nice. Some Sian fans in there. Yeah, we got a lovely little dog called Rosie. We've got a nice place to live. And then it sort of went tits up from there. So my mother died a horrible, cruel, long, drawn-out death from Alzheimer's. My dad had a heart attack the following week. I know, but survived, but then went into a care home, and then unfortunately died during lockdown, so we couldn't get to see him. He died on his own in a home. All have been through this kind of stuff, I know. What else? My wife got diagnosed with an agonizing, incurable condition called endometriosis that some of you will know about, possibly suffer with. I had a stroke. Or a mini stroke, I should say. I got diagnosed with ADHD. I got diagnosed with dyslexia. What else is there? Oh, and we've been trying and failing to have kids for 8 years. There we go. You're fucking clapping that. Which bit of that did you not understand? Fucking hell. Oh, I'm glad I came. Yes, the world is in a bit of a state, but this is really cheering me up, all this. Yes, oh, wonderful. You're strap in for the big laughs, Cardiff. If this is why you've come, to get away from the misery of the world out there, you have come to the right show, madam, I'll tell you that. Absolutely, this show's got the lot. Death, strokes, Alzheimer's, faulty nutsacks, you fucking lap it up. Lap it up, you fucking weirdo. Well, I'm calling you a weirdo, I'm doing the show about this shit. Yeah, this is how I met John. All this stuff happening is how I met John. Basically, when my mum died, right, my dad's in hospital with a heart attack. I can't drive because I've had a stroke, so I was trying to organise my mother's funeral on public transport, right? And I don't mean the funeral was on public transport. You know what I mean. I was on the funeral was in Wales. I was in London most of the time. I was on public transport, going back and forth to Wales, trying to sort things out. And I wasn't coping very well on the train. But basically, I hired a driver to get me through that difficult period, right? And that driver was John. And I know how that sounds, by the way. I know how lucky and privileged I am to be able to hire a driver, right, when life gets a bit... But fuck me, we had nothing in common. I disagreed with every single thing that man said, everything he did. Sometimes just a thought. I could see him thinking in the rearview mirror. Well, that's bollocks for a start, right? Don't even say that out loud, mate. Some things are bad enough, and I'm cooped up all day, every day in a car with this twat. He's not a nasty twat, don't misunderstand me. There's not a nasty bone in his body, right? He's just an irritating twat, is what he is. Right, irritating. But he became my inspiration. The wind beneath my comedy wings. What's the word? My muse. That's the word. The only reason I'm here tonight is because of John, because John had a gift, right? He had a gift. He had a wonderful, this is a very rare gift. This is the greatest gift you can give to any comedian, right? John is thick as shit and loves to talk. Right? Thick as shit, and he knows fuck all about anything, right? But he's got a really strong opinion on all of it. Still the type of... Do you know a John? Do we all know a John? I know. And you always knew when it was coming, because he always said, the thing is. Right? Whenever the best stuff was coming, he'd go, the thing is, John. I'd be like, hang on, I'll get my pen. Hold that thought. Hold that thought, John, stay with me. In the end, I couldn't keep up. I was writing it down. It was too much of it. I had to start recording him on this is a little dictaphone. A voice recorder. I started recording him on this, and then I would write it up when I got home, right? And this is the result, basically. This is the Book of John, of the title of the show. This is a faithful record of many of our conversations in the car. I'm going to start you off with an easy one, right? I will ease you in gently with a 40-minute argument about frozen prawns. Here we go. I'm not going to give you the whole 40 minutes, right? Relax. Cut it down a bit. I'll give you the editor. But if you're wondering why we argued about prawns, me and my wife had just come back from Iceland, right? We used to go every year. We'd have 2 weeks. We'd have the people, the land. This is the country, not the fucking shop, right? We'd fly to Reykjavik, we'd travel around. It's beautiful, wonderful. Anyway, I was recommending it to John. I got home, I'm recommending it to John in the car. He's not having it. Not interested, no interest. What? Never going to go. No, not having it. Why? Because he loves his food, and his favourite thing in the world is seafood, right? Loves his prawns, calamari, shrimp, all that, fair enough. But John reckons you can't get fresh seafood anywhere in Iceland, right? You can, he's a fucking idiot. It's an island for a start, right? So it's surrounded by the sea, which is one of the best places you can get for seafood, isn't it? Well known for it, isn't it, the old sea? But this is his theory, because there's always a theory, right? I call it John logic, and it doesn't matter what batshit theory he's coming out with, there's always some logic in there somewhere. This is his theory. John reckons the sea around Iceland is so cold that the local fishermen can only catch frozen prawns. That's what he reckons, right? That's what... Yeah, welcome to my world. That's what I had to put up with. Months of this shit. Right, and I'm like, I'm in the car, I'm in the back, he's in the front, the radio's on. I thought, maybe I've missed something. Maybe something's got lost in translation. I said, are you saying, John, then that frozen prawns live? Right? Because that's the crux of the argument, isn't it? I said, you're saying that frozen prawns are alive and well and living in the sea around Iceland. Right? Well, of course they are. How else would they survive? I was like, but how does a frozen prawn survive? He said, what do you mean? I said, if a prawn freezes, John, how the fuck does it go about the business of life? Do you know what he said? He said, they're used to it. They're born frozen. Of course they are. Of course they're the whole family's there on his mum. There's Dad there, they're all... Of course, I said, can they move and swim? He said, I don't think so, the ice is too thick. Oh, so they just sat there, are they? Staring out of a block of ice 24 hours a day. It's not a fucking great life, is it? Can they eat? He said, of course they eat. Everything's got to eat. I was like, what can they eat? They're frozen solid. He's like, will they eat other frozen stuff? Like what? Peas? Findus crispy pancakes? What are they having tonight, John? What are you talking about? The frozen stuff. And this is right. I'll cut to the end, right? I said, here's a question for you, John. Here's a hypothetical question for you. And this is the perfect example of John logic. Right? I can't give you a better example of how John's mind works than this. I said, okay, John, let's assume you're right, right? Okay, all right, fair enough, let's go with it. Let's run with your idea. Let's say I go to the supermarket, right? And I buy a bag of frozen prawns, and I get them home, right? And I put them in my freezer at home. Are you saying then, John, hypothetically, right, in theory at least, those prawns could still be alive in there, right? You went, not in a bag, they'd suffocate, right?